Governments across the UK have been keen to ensure that all children, irrespective of their background, have the opportunity to learn a musical instrument. The clarinet is a very popular choice, including for whole class lessons. But unfortunately, it's impossible to play with only one hand. It is both tragic and ironic that every year children with disabilities can be excluded from participating in mainstream education by the introduction of a policy intended to promote inclusion. Peter Worrell's One-Handed Clarinet, the winner of the 2017 OHMI competition, is a miracle of creative genius and precision craftsmanship. For Maria, it has been truly life-transforming. But as a handmade professional instrument, it doesn't come cheap and is not quick to make. That's where we come in. Our team was set up to look at whether there were ways of reducing the cost and time required to make a one-handed instrument. We have looked at the challenge through a number of different lenses, including assessing the scope for simplifying the instrument and for using alternative processes and materials for production. Peter has already simplified the clarinet keywork significantly, and virtually all of the keys would be used by the beginner player. There may, however, be scope to use a single key instead of the ingenious wobble plate that plays 4 notes and replaces 7 keys on a standard clarinet. Beginners are only likely to need one of those. We've managed to source standard ready-made bells and barrels, which should be usable with the handmade instrument. Unfortunately, it's not possible to do the same with main body joints because of the different positioning of the holes. We have also looked at the ligature to consider whether it is possible to simplify this very fiddly component. Thanks to the generosity of Sios, who donated samples of their iconic 3D printed ligature, we have found something that is much easier for one-handed players to use, as demonstrated by Maria here. And what's her verdict?
It's so easy, you can just slip it on and it's done.
We've looked at 3 different alternative processes of manufacture. Injection moulding, the process used to mass-produce standard student instruments, has been ruled out as too expensive for the likely batch size involved. It's not easy to gauge likely demand, but looking at children in the UK for a moment, there could be over 4,000 with a disability that affects their use of their hands. Even if 5% of those were in classes learning clarinet, that would suggest a demand for at least 200 instruments. At the moment, there are 6 in the world. 3D printing offers a promising alternative source of bodies in future, but the technology is not yet suitable to use this method at the moment, primarily because of the materials involved. It does, however, offer great potential for printing metal keywork, which would reduce labour costs, and it offers the opportunity to tweak the design to fit particular individual circumstances, an important factor in making adapted instruments. 5-axis milling is another possibility. As an established technology, it is probably the most viable option in the short term, until 3D printing evolves. We've also experimented to see whether body blanks could be created from recycled plastic pots. This remains work in progress, but if the product was strong enough to take the machining and screwing required to turn it into a clarinet, this could open the way to create lighter weight beginner clarinets. There are 5 main priorities for the next steps in the project. Digitising the components of the existing instrument, whether by hand or using a scanner. Accessing short batch manufacturing capability. Encouraging investment in the R&D to identify the right compound for body printing. Interesting people in the modern craft of instrument making, and continuing to raise awareness and generate demand for the instruments.